What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the official Cliffy J, and I'm back with another video. And today, I'm gonna be giving you guys my Big Brother 24 player ranking. As y'all see, my last video was ranking every HOH of Big Brother 24. And next, I will be doing some BB Can focus videos. So watch out for those later this week or next week. Excuse me. We already know the criteria that I do these power rankings based off of. It's usually based off, agency, social game, strategic ability, physical ability, and just their on paper game they play. It's not about their ability as players, it's about the game that they displayed on the season in comparison to each other. So somebody might actually show some better skill in the game, and I'll have them lower than someone that I just think had a more cerebral, like solid game based on agency and their social positioning and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into it. We obviously have 16 players to rank. And at number 16, I feel like I have to have this person at the very bottom, just based off of similar why I had Luke at the bottom of BB25. I got Paloma, and her game was actually impressive for the most part. Just really mean towards Taylor, and I didn't obviously like that. But by like day 3, she was wacky, and she wasn't like getting any sleep, and she was promising people like the money when she wins. So, like I said, it's similar to Luke. You can't even follow the rules, and you end up overplaying, in my opinion. Also, you're overplaying, just overdoing it, which not really, what happened on the show, but it definitely could have went down that path. But you end up like getting kicked off or quitting or whatever ends up happening. You couldn't even continue the show. So I can put you anywhere but the bottom. You're basically a quitter. I don't know what else to consider you. And at number 15, I've got Indy. Her game started and ended with Paloma, in my opinion. She was really rude pre-jury to Taylor. She was really rude to Taylor in general. And her game has nothing else to judge, just Taylor hate. Like, that's literally it. She was like glazing like Joseph and Monty, but like acting weird towards them. Like, she really didn't have gameplay to speak of. It was everyone else that had more gameplay in terms of the women. And at number 14, I've got Pooch. He created the precursor for the leftovers, kinda, which was the Oasis. He had the majority of the men of the leftovers, obviously, except for Michael. And his natural threat level, with a cast being more dominated by the women early, that the women were the big game players early. Like, I don't think it's even that he was that bad of a player, but the women were cooking. He has a naturally high threat level, being an athletic guy, someone that's like a similar archetype that win the game consistently. And at the same time, you could argue most men were not playing well at the start of the game. So, I can't really, shoot him too much for the fact that he wasn't able to stay in the game, because most of the guys were not playing very well. And that's who he was trying to work with, which if he had better guys that he was playing with, it could have worked. But you had people like Kyle and Daniel that essentially exposed the alliance. That kind of what got the vote flipped on him. It wasn't really his gameplay that made that happen. And at number 13, I got Daniel. Daniel is someone that his game started off pretty solid with a solid HOH. Getting aligned with a lot of players going into the second and third week. And my main gripes are obviously the fact that his alliance was exposed pretty early in the game, which created the leftovers, and that put him in a situation where he wasn't able to control any of the game past that point. But you also have the fact that him, Nicole, and Paloma and Indy were, especially him, Nicole, and Indy, were really, really mean to Taylor. And they were mean to Taylor, like, to her face even. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to tell her she had to apologize and whatever else he was saying. Some stuff that would have just, like, I would have blew that man off so fast, literally just wouldn't even been hearing, bro. But I get it, you know what I'm saying? He's a man talking crazy to a girl. So, I was talking crazy to a woman. So, I can definitely see, like, why that affected her. And it was just bad. It was bad to watch. And it definitely takes away from his ability, because after that, bro also started to kind of play, like, aggressive, like not like in like a good strategic way, aggressive, like he was talking about people and things like that after Nicole went home and stuff like bro was weird. Like, bro was weird. You ain't got no good gameplay and you're weird. And at number 12, I got Nicole. And Daniel and Nicole are pretty similar. Obviously, they both have that aggression towards Taylor that docks their game a lot because you just can't be doing that. But they also have a really solid beginning of the game. She was more isolated even than Daniel, closer to some of the more power type players at the time. So I will give her that. And that's why I have her a step above, even though she went home before him. And at number 11, I've got Amira. And as a player, Amira showed me personally that she is a better player than this ranking. She's better than at least the next 3 or 4 players that I got on this list, bro. Like legit, at least the next 3. You feel me? But at the end of the day, we're going based off of your overall game. And when you go home so early, especially when you were completely overplaying, and you also partly go into the aggression towards Taylor, at least a little bit, not as much, obviously. Feel me? Like, I'm putting her this high because she was able to make that flip from going at for Taylor and then get it on the pooch. And she was the other player that was dominant alongside Paloma in terms of creating alliances and all that. She created old school and things like that. Like, I'll give her that. She has a lot of good merits to her game, but she went home so early, I can't rank her too much higher. And at number 10, I've got Terrence. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Same with the Nicoles and the Miras and Daniels, except for he wasn't able to be insulated early, but he has a much deeper run, and he was able to win some challenges deep in the game, and though his decision-making wasn't amazing, that is more valuable to when I'm ranking players. Like, he got some more competition wins, he has more distance in the game, he was aligned with a lot of the same players, and things like that. So that's really what that is. As a player, he is worse than, actually, in my opinion, all 3 that I just said. And at number 9, I've got Jasmine. And even just looking at this, Jasmine and the next person are not good players. They're just simply not good players, but she had a solid HOH. She was literally in the majority for the beginning of the game. You know, she got that. She has that, and she was aligned with a few players that actually rock with her. So I'll give her that. But the anti-Taylorness wasn't great, especially when Taylor was always gonna have your back because y'all both black women. You feel me? Yeah, nah, it's not really much great there, but she made it really fun in the game. Won that HOH, played well under that HOH, and was aligned with so many players early in the game. I'll give her that, obviously. It's mostly the distance that makes her higher than other players. And honestly, Terrence wasn't even as close to most of the players that Jasmine and them were aligned with. Like, she was better positioned in old school because she was in the Girls Alliance, and she was closer to a lot of those players. So most, if not all, the girls. So I will give her that over Terrence. That's the exact reason why I got the next player. She was even better positioned to argue. And at number 8, I've got Alyssa. And Alyssa she's all right, you know, like, she's not terrible. She could be better. I don't think it's really a question there. She definitely could be better, but she was aligned with all those same players, with old school and girls. She also had Kyle. Terrence was tripping, trying to keep her in the game like a weirdo. Like, I'll give Alyssa a little bit more than I'll give Jasmine. The rest of the man, she got more distance in the game, so we're gonna put her right there at number 8. And at number 7, I got Brittany, and she has the distance in the game over the next 2 players, but her game is not that great. I think it is more aligned with the Alyssas and Jasmines and Terrences. She was closely aligned with not closely, but she was aligned with the girls, and she had Michael and Taylor essentially on the other side. And when Leftovers was created, she was kind of like a Michael tag-along. She was always a Michael tag-along. In my mind, I don't care what anybody says, kind of the vibe I got. And Michael was the more strategic of the 2. He was the better physical player of the 2. He was the one kind of leading their alliance. Turning on Taylor didn't actually make that much sense, because her and Taylor was rocking together so long. She could have just kept honestly, it would have probably actually worked out better for her karma wise. Honestly, I had better karma if you would have at least voted to save Taylor that day. But you were so angry and spiteful. Like, you're not a good player. You're emotional. Like, it doesn't work for me. Like Monty said, she's trying to be a mafia boss and all different type of stuff. But like, her gameplay when she was back against the wall was honestly really bad. Like, patronizing Turner and like trying to grill him and stuff. Like, nah. No matter what, I would even argue that she is definitely more, and actually, because I got like a gap, right? I have it as a gap between Alyssa and Brittany, and then the next players. There might even be a gap between Brittany and the next players, because this is like the type of stuff that the players before her on the list would do. Just stupid stuff, acting very emotional, and not like you're acting like you just got turned on pre-jury. Michael got sent home at the final 6, bro. Like, why is she tripping so much? Why is she playing like this now? It don't make sense. Like, I don't know. And the thing that gets me is, if Brittany would have won HOHs, she likely would have nominated Monty some of those times. Like, can we be honest? She would have. And at number 6, I've got Joseph. And I would love to have my boy Joseph higher. He is the real creator of the leftovers. If it was just 25-year-old Joseph, he wouldn't be higher. But this is a good spot. It will be even more of a gap between him and Brittany if it was just 25-year-old Joseph. Joseph has a solid game overall. He doesn't have any competition wins, though. That does matter. But he is solid socially. He was always rather safe. Like, people would never think of putting him on the block early game and stuff like that. And he has a lot of people that he was close to. He was close to Pooch, close to Turner, close to Kyle, close to Monty, close to Taylor, close to Indy, close to Jasmine. Like, he had a lot of good relationships in the game. And him and Kyle were also able to play the middle after they were the ones that created the leftovers. I give most of the credit obviously to Kyle and Joseph, and then Turner, of course. So yeah, him and Kyle played really well when they were going in the middle between the two alliances. And I don't think that he got sent home, for gameplay reasons. He got sent home because Kyle is racist, or at least was feeling racist at the time. At least bro was feeling racist at the time. So, I can't really discredit Joseph that much, but he didn't make it as far as the other people that are higher. And he also didn't win any competitions. They all did. And, he also got outplayed. He got thoroughly outplayed by Kyle. Even if we take race out of it, he just got outplayed by him. And at number 5, I got Kyle. I was gonna put all the way. I don't know the flag my video if I go all the way. But y'all know Mr. Klansman Kyle. I think his game was actually really good to the point that he got to. When he actually had Turner nominate Michael, that was a bad move. He should have backdoored Michael, because that would have made more sense. Like, sliming out Michael would have made more sense if you backdoor him. You can't just put Michael on the block. And everybody would have been down if you just backdoored him. I don't know why you tried to ruin Turner's game by having him throw him on the block, but that's what happened. And they got him sent home. But before that, it was working just fine. If he would have made a different decision, Michael would have continued to ride with his all-white alliance, and he would have been just fine. He was very liked on the cast by a lot of the players. He actually had a decent amount of control, because Alyssa should have been gone. On top of the fact that he had that showmanship with Alyssa, he was close with players outside of their alliance, which is why Joseph and him were able to play the middle. He was a big part in creating the leftovers. He was always pretty much insulated a little bit with even girls. Like, girls rocked with him and Monty and Daniel. So Kyle's game is really good overall, aside from the, all-white alliance of it all. And at number 4, I've got Turner. And I got Turner at number 4, mainly because if we look at his overall trajectory in the game, other than very early in the game, he was positioned pretty well, being a part of the leftovers, being a part of the pound, being close to players like Kyle, Monty, Joseph, Alyssa. Like, he had players that he was good with even outside of the alliance. Really just mainly Alyssa. But he was positioned pretty well inside the leftovers for the majority of the game. Even after Kyle flipped, he was positioned pretty well. He brought the pound back together. They were going to obviously make the move and try to backdoor Michael, which then unfortunately didn't work out. He was forced to backdoor Kyle. Well, not backdoor, but he was forced to get Kyle up out of there, which, not really any sauce there. I don't think that was obvious. He was obviously forced, you know what I'm saying? And I get why he did it. Production probably forced him to do it. We know that the cast, it's just like the whole entire vibe kind of can't work with Kyle no more after that. You can't work with Kyle no more. You got to kind of send Kyle home after that, bro. I kind of get that. You feel me? So I ain't going to attack him for that, his gameplay. But that obviously affected the position he was in. And even after that, he was able to keep Monty loyal. Taylor stayed loyal because of Monty. And he was able to get to the end of the game. He won multiple HOHs. And his HOHs were extremely pivotal, being the one to get out Amira, and technically being the one to get out Michael, being the one to technically get out Kyle. Like, his HOHs were extremely important. And I don't think it was really much he could have did to play a better game based off his social game. I think he played a really, really good game, honestly. And at number 2, I got Michael. And I just recorded this, but I didn't push. I just said everything I was going to say about Michael actually off the dome, which is crazy. I actually cooked, and then I realized I wasn't recording. So, I just took a lot of aura. But at the end of the day, I give Michael a lot of credit for being a comp beast. He won a record-breaking amount of comps. His social game was actually pretty good. He was arguably the main driver of the leftovers while they were on Alliance. He was a pretty logical player, and he always gave his input, so it kind of steered in the direction of what Michael would like to do. He had solid HOHs. My only real gripe with him is like his threat management. Well, 2 gripes, I guess. The threat management and the fact that I really believe he should have took a shot at Turner or Monty when he got Terrence out of there, because though Terrence would target him, we're so deep in the game, Terrence isn't a big enough threat to be worried about him. And Terrence is also not someone that is so close to Monty and Taylor and Turner and players like that. Like, you could have still worked that. All you would have had to do was do the Turner and Monty on the block and say you're going for the biggest threats, the ones that actually pose a threat to you socially and physically. But he didn't do that, and he was trying to play it safe. And I think that you were too late trying to play it safe. Bro, you already raised your threat level so high to the point where, like you said, I had no choice but to keep winning. That didn't make sense. Should have made it easier to win. So go for Terrence. But yeah, that's my only gripe with Michael. We played a good game overall, though, for sure. And at number 2, I don't care what nobody says, I got Taylor. The most well-rounded player, of the season, aside from Monty, who's obviously at my number 1. And it's even an argument that she's more well-rounded and that she could be number 1. I do see the argument. She won multiple comps. Bar early in the game, like, she had a very good social game. We say the entire overall game, like, the only reason that players didn't give her that credit at points during the game was because they didn't like her. It was players that didn't like her. But most people in the game were able to see she's actually really likable and she's good socially, just, in an aspect of being in the game with her. And she wasn't bad strategically. She's had a bad HOH realistically, like, and I feel like the way she handled Brittany at first, I didn't really like it, but I kind of get by the end of it, you kind of want to go to the end with Brittany because Brittany's going to take you to the end. And realistically, it makes sense you have a higher chance of beating Brittany than Turner or Monty. So I see where she was thinking there. I think that she got that cutthroat ability. She just didn't have the opportunity really to use it. I'm not rating her based off overall gameplay. I'm rating her based off overall gameplay, not based off her as a player. And if we just look at overall gameplay, I actually think it's worse than her as a player. I think that Taylor is actually a better player than the gameplay she was able to display, partly because of the early game bullying, and partly because I think that she was a little bit struggling with decision making at points, which is why she was like so flip floppy during her HOH, her first HOH. And I didn't like her headphone game. That does matter. I didn't like headphone game. That was like a little too much, like trying to like impress Brittany that you could kind of own Monty, and it's like hey, I get where you coming from, sister, but you don't really want to do that, because what if Monty would have been like, oh, really? You want to do me like that? And then like slimes you out. Like, that would have been wrong for sure. Monty would have been bogus for doing that. But that also, like, you're setting him up to do you like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Taylor's game is actually very good overall. She was literally in a terrible position, and you got to give her some credit for getting out of that position and becoming so integrated into what was actually going on, what was actually dominating, while still being so close to the actual players. It wasn't just they threw her in as an alliance member. Like, she got really close to Joseph, Monty, Brittany, and Mike. Like, they were all very, very close to Taylor in the game, and that's very important. And at number 1, I got Monty. I just think on paper, for sure, without a doubt, he has the best game of the bunch. His pregame strategy, he didn't really know much about the game, obviously, but his pregame strategy, he wants to play like X. And I don't care what nobody say, he kind of did. He kind of did. He got into a strong alliance early, won an early HOH to solidify trust and respect, and then he kind of coasted into the late game. Yeah, he wasn't always knowing exactly what was going on, but he was positioned so well, and he was liked, and he was trusted to the point where people didn't take the shot at him. It wasn't because, "Oh, he's just such a bad player, and we know we can cook him at the end." Nah, they rocked with him. His threat management was good, and he was playing a good game, and he did it just as, if not smoother, than someone like X, which isn't anything special necessarily, but it's definitely really good. And he was also solid in comms, especially down the stretch. And he just made the wrong decision when he chose to pick to sit next to in the final two, with who he chose to sit next to in the final two. When damn, I cannot talk today. But yeah, no, I just think that the decision to pick Taylor, it's hard not to make that decision. It's hard not to, because just resume for resume wise, Turner's resume looked better, especially from like inside the game perception, for sure. And like, dude, she was disliked by a lot of the players. So why would you not think that when it comes to voting, like Jasmine, was Indy there? Like Jasmine, Indy are gonna definitely vote for you. You'll at least get Turner also. That's 3 votes where you're for sure assuming you're gonna get, right? Realistically, I would have only thought that she's getting Michael and Brittany and maybe Joseph, but I would think Joseph, that was my boy all game. He gonna go real recognize real. Like I played the better overall game, like on paper. So I'm gonna get his vote too. Like I would have thought I was gonna win. So I can get where Monty was coming from, and yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah. And that is the end of today's video, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure y'all comment what videos y'all want to see next from the channel. I do definitely want to dive in and do some BB can content. So y'all let me know if that's what y'all really want, man. And y'all make sure that y'all push that notification bell so y'all can be notified every time I drop a new lit banger. Peace.